can you sit here all day and knowing there's just people that are dying or dead in there.
The last actions of a man with a death wish. This woman is still dealing with the sadness after her neighbor turns life on her street upside down.
What do you do when most of the world has turned its attention to other things and you're left with the constant reminder of violence and tragedy?
On your side, investigator Dan Tilkin has that story of a Washougal woman's struggle, and Dan joins us now. The reminder is really out her front window, isn't it?
Right. For 3 straight days, I and other reporters were on this woman's street documenting every detail when her neighbor went on a fiery, deadly shooting spree. Well, then news and life moved on, except for hers. Enough time has gone by that burned appliances, tools, and junk have rusted. The cards and flowers of sympathy wilted. The buckets of spent bullet casings corroded. But nothing.
We're standing here at the driveway yelling, "Steve, Steve!"
Dia Taylor West has faded about that morning.
I don't know why, I just can't let it, I guess because we see it every day, I can't stop going over it in my mind all the time, at night especially.
Her sleeplessness began December 7th. Dia and her family recorded on their cell phones the fire erupting under a tree at the house across the street. And then the sound of their neighbor's fireworks stash exploding.
Oh, good Lord.
Dia wondered where were the fire trucks and why didn't the police car that flew by come back? Then she could hear why. Dia's husband and daughter argued over what was going on.
What shoved out the window? A gun?
The gun went off.
You see, so you're telling me
I saw the gun when it went off. I saw it blow through the window.
that was fireworks, though, too?
No, it wasn't. It was a gun.
For 4 hours, their neighbor, Steve Stanberry, kept police at bay, firing hundreds of rounds.
Hello, bullets?
One propped his gun up right here.
2 heavily armed police snipers set up in Dia's kitchen, but Stanberry never showed his face. There was never any sign of Steve's wife, Lee, or her twin sister, Mona. In the aftermath, Dia channeled her despair into this sign. She wrote, "Stephen, I am so mad at you. You were our friend. How could you be this monster? Lee and Mona did not deserve to perish in your pain." Soon Dia learned his likely motive. Stanberry faced rape charges involving a family member. She had already heard Steve talk about Lee's plans for divorce. She had already been exposed to his racist views, despite her disapproval. But the thing she still can't figure out.
Steve, what were you thinking?
The bag her husband found in the back of his truck and gave to police.
They got their gloves on and started pouring through it, and it was Steve. It was Steve's wallet.
It also contained a hatchet and GPS unit, possibly listing Stanberry's landscaping customers. Months earlier, Stanberry talked about giving Dia's husband his business, that he was calling it quits.
It's all creepy.
Recently, Dia worked with the Humane Society to rescue Stanberry's dog Ben, which was roaming the neighborhood. His cat still does. Still, 2.5 months later, Dia Taylor West waits for this mess to be cleaned up and waits to move forward.
This will be something that I don't know when it'll ever go away, and I wish to God it would.
It really affects you to look at this.
I hate it.
I talked to the city of Washougal today about when cleanup will begin. They say the bank that owns the property hasn't okayed a bid yet, but the city is hopeful that cleanup will finally begin next week.
I can't imagine looking out your window and seeing that daily. Her sadness must be really deep-rooted.
You know, she and I actually talked about whether she has PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. She's actually had a little bit of counseling, but she doesn't have any insurance, so she hasn't had any further counseling.
Dan, thank you.